you've been very open about your personal struggles in past podcasts and things like that, from meth addiction, sex addiction, to joining a religious cult, and then going from that to becoming a licensed psychotherapist, being a keynote speaker, being a best-selling author. How? Who are you? How?
That's a fun question. I like that. How there's nothing well, I'm not going to say that. Here's what I'll say. I'll say that life's not simple. Like, obviously, I don't know when this is coming out, but like, oh my God, look around the world. And I think the world's always been burning. It's just more people are paying attention to more things now, which is cool. But the tools that we need on the individual level, assuming that, and again, this is so important to me to say as a disclaimer, like, privilege is a thing, genetics, mobility, like assuming that you have basic needs met and you have the mobility to do the things you want to do and choices. Like, if you're in an oppressive environment, that's not what my work is about. Mm-hmm. My work is about the person listening who's like, there's no logical reason why I can't do what I want to do, but I'm not doing it. Like, we all know what it's like to be like, part of me knows, like for me, it was don't smoke meth. Like, this was not a lack of information kind of problem. Like, duh. But like, part of me knows what to do, and part of me is taking me totally down. You know, am I allowed to swear on your podcast?
You are, yes. Say whatever you want.
Cool. It's like, why am I taking my life off the rails into the shitter when I know what to do? It's not hard to know, don't do meth. But the thing is we all think we have to have answers to every last question before we can make changes. And it's just not true. Like, yes, we need to understand why. Yes, we need to understand, like, yes, I had trauma. Yes, I had a lot of stuff happen to me that I didn't want to deal with. And so I ran away from that using people, places, pills, powders, whatever. But the tools are it's like literally, and I'll tell you a story about what I mean. Like, you know, I finally came clean with, I am smoking meth and this is a problem and it's my problem and I can't blame anyone and no one's coming to save me. What do I do? And like the night I sort of had that reckoning, I called a friend and I told her I'd been full of shit and I'd been lying, and because I was very functional, forward facing, like my whole addiction path, I was still showing up for work every day. And you wouldn't necessarily know unless you knew me and saw my hair on fire. But I was still functional looking. And so I called a friend. I outed myself. I'd been tweaking for days. I was a hot mess. And she's like, girl, like, when was the last time you ate food? And she sat with me on the phone for a freaking hour while I ate this like blueberry yogurt, 1 spoon at a time. That's the type of stuff we need to be doing, because we can look around at our lives and we can look around at the world and go, holy shit, everything sucks. Everyone sucks. It's all conspiracy. Like, there's nothing I can do. Okay, well, there's nothing I can do over there, but I can do plenty over here. I can eat a fucking yogurt. Like, I can eat a yogurt. That is my work in the world today. And then over time, those steps become bigger. And now my small steps are not eat a yogurt. But like, there's almost never a case where there's nothing that we can do. I might not like my choices, but it's very rare that we have none, unless, you know, we're being detained or oppressed or abused. And I'm not talking about those situations. That's not what this work is.
Yeah. I've had Dr. Alex Korb on the podcast. He's a neuroscientist. He wrote The Upward Spiral. He studies happiness. Great guy. Super fun conversation. He talks about he calls it the dumb stuff. It's like you get into your head like, oh, I'm not in this, like everything's going bad. I can't control anything. And it's like, well, did you even eat today? Like, did you drink water? Did you sleep well? Like, all of those things contribute to the overall mindset that you're facing.
It's so dumb. Like, it's so stupid. Like, I am horrified that after how many years of destroying my body and destroying my life, it comes down to like, eat a yogurt. Like drink a glass of water. Like, are you kidding me? It's almost offensive and I hear myself say it to my private clients, and I say it on stage. I'm like, you guys, I call them micro yeses. These micro yeses move the needle. They're not sexy. No one's going to do an Instagram reel about them because they don't look like anything. But change happens when you make things small, not when you try to do big things.
Why is it that we like know it but don't believe it? Like I can hear that and I'm like, yeah, but I don't know, man. Like, that's not the secret sauce right there. So like, I hear you and I believe you, but also the part of my brain's like, okay, but what's the big thing? Like, what do I really need to do?
Can we play with that for a second?
Please,
Like, can we?
please.
Okay. So, like, which part, and I'm not trying to therapize you. That's not what this is. However, we're here. You're here.
Yeah.
I'm here. Let's play. Well, the part of your brain that's telling you this is bullshit, what does that part of your brain think? Like, if we were to give him the mic, what does he want to say?
It's not like it's the part of me that feels like I start in like a productivity debt each morning. So like I wake up and it's like, if I do everything perfect, I'm at 0 and I'm at the bare minimum of what I should be. And so it's like that part of me that's like, okay, yeah, but you could be doing more. You could be doing more. And like, that's just like that's the base minimum. But what could you be doing that's extra?
Right.
That's kind of what
And
I
so
think.
that part of you, what would he say if you did something as stupid as put a spoon into a yogurt and call it a win?
He would say that's not a win. Like you just did
Yeah.
like that's the minimum. Like that's, you don't get, like you need to do that.
Exactly, right? And we're trained to have this negative self-talk. Like, that's stupid. And I mean, I've heard myself say it too. Like, that's dumb. This doesn't get you anywhere. And, you know, like when I was writing books and my micro yeses were different, but still they seemed just as stupid and pointless. But like, neurologically, when you tell yourself that's stupid, you should be doing more, your brain doesn't distinguish you yelling at you from me yelling at you. And so that's dumb, you should do more, is then going to release stress hormones. And that is then going to put your system in a state of anxiety and high stress, which is then going to shut down all the parts of you that you need to be able to do stuff. And then your brain's going to get all, oh no, tigers are eating me because I'm being yelled at, so let's do less. When you clock these dumb small things as wins, and I'm not saying like do nothing for the rest of your life, you know, eat a yogurt, call it a day, you're good. I'm saying clock it as a win. Yay, go me, did a thing. That then stops that feedback loop of stress hormones, and now I'm stuck and now I feel like crap. And when you give yourself a win, you get a little tiny bump of dopamine. And dopamine then tells your brain, cool, that was cool, let's do that again. And then you build I love the concept of upward spiral, because that's exactly what you create when you do these small things. And then you do them enough and you get momentum, and momentum will get you where you want to go faster than motivation almost every time.
Can you go too far with that? I mean, I'm sure like there's people like me, and I'm sure you've gathered from this, it's like the hyper aware, like insecure wannabe overachiever, like I gotta always be doing more. But then you have the people who are like, oh, you tell me eating a yogurt's good, like I'm good, like, oh, I did that. Like, can they go too far and be like too easy on themselves?
I love this question so much, because really what we have to do if we want to do anything of value is stop lying to ourselves about ourselves. Like, if you're an overachiever and you're using this micro yes tool as an excuse to keep pushing, and I'm just going to keep going because I got, like, you're full of shit. And I say that with love because I'm full of shit most days. But like, if you know that eating the yogurt is not, like, I was tweaking. I had been smoking meth for days. I hadn't slept. I hadn't eaten. I was seeing funny things. I was convinced the police were going to break into my apartment. In that case, a yogurt made sense. Like, that's the right micro yes for that situation. If I know I could do not all of the things, but like, get honest with yourself. Is a micro yes sufficient for the day? If you worked a 20-hour day volunteering, and then you took care of 5 children and sick parents, then like, yeah, a yogurt, that probably checks out. Drinking a glass of water, that's probably your micro yes. But if you have everything paid for and you have no responsibilities and nothing to do and no one expecting anything of you, that micro yes doesn't match. So without shaming there's no point in beating ourselves up, but just get really honest. Be like, is this all I'm capable of today? And if the answer is no, I just don't want to, that's fine. Like, I don't feel like it and I don't want to. That we can work with. What we can't work with is, I just wish I could, but I can't. It's like, yeah, you could. Like, at least be honest about the fact that you don't want to.
Yeah. We
can move the needle with I don't want to. We can't move the needle with I can't.
That makes a lot of sense. I need to be a little bit more honest with myself and saying sometimes it's okay not to want to too. Cause like I have that list of things. I'm like, okay, Like I have my micro yeses. I have things that I can be doing, but also it's just like, let me sit on the couch, and I can't even sit on the couch and relax because I'm like, well, you should be doing this. You should be doing this. You should be doing that. And so there's kind of having that conversation about being honest, like, okay, to move the needle forward, maybe I should be doing nothing right now.
Or even if like and yes, I agree with that totally. And that's why I don't like the word should. I like the word could. Like I
Yeah.
could be doing something, not I should. Should is shamey and it's not helpful. But like even if lying on the couch isn't the right call, like there are plenty of days where I'm like, I have things to do. I really like sitting on the couch is not the appropriate, healthy, optimized choice for me. But I'm being stubborn. I'm having a temper tantrum, and I just don't want to. Like, okay, but then say that. Like, and I will sit there and try to say to myself, I don't want to. This is not a good choice for me to be doing nothing, but the honest truth is I don't want to. You can only be honest with yourself so many days in a row before you're sick of hearing yourself saying that. And I'm like, I don't want to be the person who could but chooses not to every single day. Eventually, I'm going to get my butt off the couch. And so, like, again, honesty without shame is a really, really useful skill.
Real quick, before we get too deep into this conversation, I wanted to give you guys a peek under the hood when it comes to the data. So the data on this app shows me that less than 21% of my average monthly listeners are actually subscribed to the show. Now, subscribing to the show helps way more than you'd think. It helps the show get pushed out to more people. It helps the show grow. It helps me get more guests. It helps improve the quality. So if you guys like listening to me, and more importantly, like listening to the guests that I'm bringing on, do me a quick favor, hit the subscribe button right here on this app, and we will continue to grow the show bigger and better with each and every episode. Thank you so much. What was the path from the yogurt to the cult to the licensed therapist?
The timeline is very interesting. So like the cult came early. That was, and it made so much sense. I wasn't into drugs early on, and it just made so much sense to me. Like I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up like New Yorker, very in my head all the time, very go, 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 go. And then I met these people. Obviously, I know now they were recruiting me, but they were so happy to see me, is what it felt like. And I had never walked into a room and felt people happy for me to be there. Like I didn't have that experience at home. It was twisted at home. It was just not really like people were happy to see me, but I was playing my role in the family. And when I stopped playing that role, things went south. But with the cults don't advertise, hi, we're a cult. Let us brainwash you. What they're offering is belonging and purpose and connection and mattering and love. And I'm like, where do I sign? Like, sign me up. And then over time, it's sort of, I didn't realize at the time that what was happening is I was slowly being isolated and brainwashed and like, yeah. And what got me out of the cult was meth because, like I met someone and my love addiction was stronger than my religious addiction. And so like, and he did drugs. And so I'm like, you do drugs? I'll do drugs. Will you love me? Yes. Okay, cool. Where's the pipe? Let's go. I can do this. I'll be the best meth smoker and meth procurer you've ever seen. Look at me go. I can find it anywhere at any time of day.
Yeah.
And bless my little heart. So, I mean, again, I don't subscribe to being a drug addict, but I don't regret, like, would it have been nice to not have those traumas? Sure. But, like, meth got me out of the cult. The cult got me away from my family of origin. And all of those things led me to this conversation with you. And I really love my life now. So I don't think everything happens for a reason. That's BS. That's, like, some bogus, like, no. But I wouldn't, like, if you could say to me, if you could go back in time and change everything, would you? And it's like, no. I wouldn't want to redo it, but I wouldn't change it.
Do you think everything can happen for a reason if you choose to like see it that way? Like if you choose to look at it that way and see this is what got me to here, is like that did happen for a reason. But if you neglect to learn from those mistakes or to grow, it didn't.
That's so true. I mean, I do, but it's tricky, right?
Yeah.
Because then that gets into victim blaming, and that gets into, well, you manifested being sexually assaulted for your highest good. It's like, no, not really. Like, and again, trigger warning if you're listening, we're talking about hardcore stuff like sexual assault and domestic violence and drug addiction. But like, did it happen for a reason? I don't know. Like, can you take what happened to you and, assuming that you have privilege, access, choices, and enough safety, can you do something with it? I mean, I'm very lucky that I could, and I did. Not
Yeah.
everybody has the same choices I did. So I think for some people, you can do that. And for others, especially if they're locked inside systems that are broken and are giving them labels and keeping them in a cycle where they can't get free. So no, not everyone can take their mess and turn it into something good. I did, and I could, and I'm glad I could, and I really love empowering people to take whatever is available to them to do that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. You were talking about um, why and how you got pulled into the cult, and I've definitely had, and I've talked to people about this before, and you just kind of have those thoughts in the back of your head. Sometimes, at least I do, where it's like, I don't want to think anymore. Just provide me with shelter, provide me with food, tell me when and where to work. I'll go do that.
Okay, I love that you get this because, okay, so here's the thing, okay? I'm now 22 years old in this time. I have no sense of who I am. I have no sense of what I want and 5 bajillion choices. You can be anything. You can,
Yeah.
I'm like, the cult told me what to wear, what to read. There's like 2 approved books and that's it. It's like there's the Bible and like the cult's version of explaining the Bible, and that's pretty much it. Here's the music you're allowed to listen to, and we only listen to music with major chord progressions because the devil is in the minor chord progressions. And so like it really, and like most of the time we don't eat because fasting is what, like that's why like fasting in the wellness world now sort of, I'm not saying no
Yeah.
one should fast. I'm saying for me, oh my God, no, not for me, not anymore. But they told me who I was, what to do. It was like just add water and stir, and now you have a personality. And then I didn't have to build one. Building a
Mhm.
personality is hard. I mean, I have like 25 personalities, but like I had to consciously build them all, and that's hard work. So yeah,
Yeah.
cult life offers you a quote way out. Just
Yeah.
it comes at a high price.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I know logically I would get like, because I don't like being told what to do all the time, but also it's like, let me just turn my brain off. You want me to go dig this ditch? I'll go dig that ditch. You have food ready for me? I'll go eat that. That
This is
sounds nice.
fabulous. And I would have said the same, like, no one's going to tell me what to do. I'm a sassy New Yorker and
Yeah.
I'm, relatively intelligent. Like, I would never, I was so like ego driven with the whole, I would never get sucked in by a cult. I would never end up in a violent relationship. It's like, yeah, anywhere there's a wound that doesn't get addressed in a way that's needed, you're susceptible to all kinds of fuckery.
Hmm.
So, like, the cult doesn't make you think that you're being told what to do. It's actually the most brilliant marketing campaign I've ever seen. If we could take all the cult people and channel
Yeah.
their talents for good, the world would be so great. But they actually make you believe it's your idea. Like, no, we're not telling you what to do. We're just, you do, you're free will, Britt. You do whatever you want. But I'm like, oh no, but if I don't do it, there's this subtle threat of coercive control. And having been in an abusive, domestically violent series of relationships, it's very much the same dynamics of, no, we're not telling you, you're choosing, except you're really not.
Yeah. Yeah. So you got out, meth got you out.
Yay,
What came?
meth.
Okay, meth. I'm from Southern Illinois, so it's the drug of choice down there.
It's awful. And I'm not making light of it. I had someone come up to me after a stage speech and she's like, I don't like that you're making fun of meth and it's very serious. I'm like, lady, I understand how serious it was. I almost died in that world. I'm not saying it's a jokey joke for everyone. I'm saying I have a twisted sense of humor, and that's part of how I do my life. And you can like click off or walk out of the room if it's not for you. Like,
Yeah.
respect to people. Do your thing. I use humor because life's hard and humor helps.
What was the trigger to get off of meth? Like, what got you to the yogurt?
Well, so the thing with crystal meth is you really can't lie to yourself for very long. Like, this whole I'm fine, everything's fine, nothing to see here doesn't really work. And again, trigger warning, this is a icky story. But, there came a point where, first of all, getting meth, it's not like you're buying things off of Facebook Marketplace. You don't like meet your friendly dealer in a Target parking lot for a friendly handoff. It's a pretty grim, violent world. And then there was one night where it was a very, very violent encounter with my dealer. And I was like, somewhere in the back of my head, I had heard the statistic. Women who are strangled are 7 times more likely to die by homicide. And somewhere in the back of my very foggy, cloudy, delusional brain, I remembered that statistic. And so after that encounter, it was very clear it's life or death at this point. There's nowhere else to go. I wasn't ready to die. I wasn't ready to live, but I wasn't ready to die. So I sort of hung out in this in-between zone for a little bit.
Once you finally talked to your friend and got to that point, did you go straight to, like, I want to learn more about how my brain works, or did you go to therapy and then get interested? Like, what was the steps there?
I wish it was linear. I wish I could be like, once I got off meth, then I became interested in neuroscience.
For sure.
But like, I had dipped in and out of therapy and made half-assed attempts to work on myself, but I didn't want to deal with there were 2 things I didn't want to deal with. One, I didn't want to deal with the reality of what happened to me as a child. That was one. And then 2, I didn't want to deal with the reality of my bad behavior. And I wanted to blame. I wanted to be like, my trauma made me do it, because it was gross looking in the mirror. I mean, 12-step recovery, I have a lot of issues with the way that program is taught. However, those rooms did save my life. And one of the things that you learn to do in those rooms is tell on yourself to another person out loud. And like it's sort of like the Catholic idea of confession, but without all the weird stuff and the morality and the sin and all the weird stuff that goes along with that. It's like literally like, no, you're going to tell on yourself, and we're not going to leave you. We're not going to tell you, good girl, oh, poor you. We're going to just sit here and we're not going to leave you. And that's a beautiful concept. So for all the beef I have with 12-step morality and character defects and how untrauma informed it is, it's the only place where I've ever experienced saying out loud, here's all my crap that I have pulled, and have someone hold that space and not leave me. It's sort of like what parents are supposed to do, if so I've heard. Mm-hmm. And if you don't get that experience, the 12-step rooms are a way through that. But I say all that to say, my journey into becoming a therapist was nonlinear. It was 2 steps forward, 8 back, a few down, a few up. And then I didn't go to grad school until my 30s. So I didn't become a therapist until my early mid-30s.
Yeah. What is specifically like a psychotherapist? What is that?
It's so confusing if you look, especially at social media, like who does what? And I had friends who were like, can you prescribe us Adderall? I'm like, I'm not a doctor. That's a psychiatrist. So a psychotherapist is someone who has gone through a master's program and has submitted to a very lengthy, rigorous process, including supervision and thousands of hours of, doing therapy. And then, I'm also trained in specialized types of therapy, but I have a active license. Anyone can call themselves a therapist. The word therapist is not regulated. You could tell everyone that you're a life therapist or a holistic therapist or whatever. Psychotherapist is a regulated term. You need a license to call yourself a psychotherapist. And a neuropsychotherapist, which is what I call myself, is because I have specialized training in the brain. And this is horrible news, and a lot of people don't know this, and it's important that people know this. Psychotherapists are not required to have any training in the brain. There was not one class in undergrad or grad school where I learned about the mechanisms of how the brain works. And you have to opt in to very expensive optional training to learn this. So we have therapists telling people, here's your mental illness. Great. What training in the brain do you have? None. But, you said that these are your symptoms, and I was told these symptoms mean this disease. So here you go. So that's a problem.
Did you, before you started going to school for this, did you go to therapy between then? Or
I tried.
Yeah.
I did cult therapy. That was interesting. So
what is cult therapy?
That was exorcism type therapy.
Oh, interesting.
So that was pretty wild. And I tried to varying degrees of
Mm.
success, but I was also being variable with my honesty.
Mm.
So it didn't really stick until I was really, really like no holds barred honest about myself.
And did that happen after you started learning about it, or were you able to do that beforehand?
It was sort of like I got really honest after like the meth thing. Then I like
Okay.
I did some time in treatment and I got really serious about recovery and very very like I took time off and just kind of worked random odd jobs just to pay bills and lived with roommates and did anything I could to prioritize therapy and paying for wellness stuff. But it was very like circular. It wasn't like I did this and then I became a therapist and like
Yeah.
after I became a therapist, I was still involved in really chaotic, very, very bad relationships. The relationship piece was sort of the last one to click.
Yeah. It's funny, people assume people who work in specialized fields or areas that they know like will never do the thing in which they they talk about. And
Jeez.
it's not like I come from, a background of I've always been very interested in health and fitness. I've been a competitive athlete and doing all those things and into nutrition, and then I'll slam a whole pack of Oreos. And people are like, "Oh, you eat Oreos?" I'm like, "Yeah, I eat Oreos. Of course."
Regular or double stuff? Or
Double
those
stuffed.
double stuffed. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're you gotta go big.
Yeah, my wife is into the regular, and that's a huge
No.
debate that we have. Yeah, it's
No.
crazy.
I mean, like I support women, but no, double
Yeah.
if you're gonna eat Oreos, eat the double stuff ones. But
Absolutely.
yeah.
What was the impetus and reason behind writing your book?
Oh, yeah. I love that question. So, writing has always been how I've stayed. Well, I wouldn't say sane because I was not sane for a long time. But
Mm.
writing was really how I kept from. I believe this truly now. I think I would have gone into a psychotic break way earlier in life if I didn't have a writing practice. Like, there were times where I would pull over my car when I lived in Los Angeles, like massive traffic, and I would like have panic attacks and pull myself over on the freeway and just sit and write until my brain sort of stopped feeling like it was about to split into pieces. And so I've always, since I was little, used writing as my way to like find my path through reality. So I've always wanted to write a book, always.
Mhm.
The Science of Stuck, which is my first book, that one came about because I'm like, I want to write a book, and no one will let you write a book if you don't have famous parents or industry connections or a huge audience. And at that time, I had no audience.
Mhm.
And I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to use Instagram. And this was in 2017, 2018. I'm just going to use, and this was before social media got like weird. It was really fun when I started it. I loved doing it. And I would just sort of test out ideas, and I would teach, I would throw out my own theories and my own concepts. And I just had so much fun interacting with the platform and kind of noodling on all of these ideas, from trauma to neuroscience and addiction to narcissism before that became a buzzword and every asshole is now a narcissist. It's like, no, we've overdone it. That's not a thing. And then I look down at my social media feed and I'm like, I have this like basically this bulletin board of, I didn't even realize I was storyboarding a book.
Mm.
And then I'm like, I have a book here. And at that point, I had amassed enough followers that I could get the attention of a literary agent. And then she sold the book to Penguin Random House on
Yeah.
my wedding day. So I'm in
Amazing.
my wedding dress with my husband, and it was during COVID. And so we had just the two of us and an officiant. And I got a phone call from my agent, and she's like, hey, what are you doing right now? I'm like, sitting in my wedding dress with my now husband in the car, like going to get like chicken wings. What? She's like, congratulations, you got a book deal. So that was cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
There's I think his name's Tiago Forte. He has a book called Building a Second Brain, and he talks about like consuming stuff like podcasts or books or whatever, and then taking notes, or like a daily writing practice. And if you can have it in one place and have like a certain system in place, when you go to do these projects like writing a book or writing an article or whatever, like you've done all the legwork beforehand because you kind of have that background of stuff that you've written. So I'm currently in the process of reading that book and trying to build my second brain and have that, because I want a daily writing practice. It's actually for this new year, I've got a little journal here, and each month I have like a little bullet So like this was last month of like all my habits that I want to track and like X's and doing that. So for this
I
month, I have
love
like
that.
writing every day, like create a daily writing habit because I want to get good at that. I can see the value of that. What was your writing habit? It sounded like a lot of it was out of necessity, like was just a compulsion that you had to get out of that, or is there any structure or anything to it to that?
The structure I have now, since we're playing show and tell, and I
Yes.
just happen to be sitting right by where all my crap is. So the book that really changed my life, that set me on that trajectory that we were talking about, is called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron.
Okay.
And it's like 11 weeks to creative recovery. But I wasn't like a visual artist. I wouldn't have identified as an artist. But I don't think she set out to write the most powerful inner healing book of all freaking time, but she did. And one of her practices that I have been doing, not every day because I'm not perfect, but pretty close to every day, is what she calls morning pages. And so the very first thing I do in the morning before I do anything is I have my page here. My
Is she
book's here.
is she the choreographer? Is that
She did
yeah,
dance, she did
yeah.
film. I think she was like married to Martin Scorsese. I don't know. But like morning pages are 3 pages of just brain rot. Like
Okay.
instead of getting on my phone, I will literally and just sort of, and it's not writing to be good. It's like I need to go and take my laundry, and today my dog is being an asshole and pooped on the carpet. But some days I'm processing feelings. So it's really just like the first thing you do in the morning. Just let it all vomit out of your head. The way she says it is like when you wake up, your thoughts are like wild animals running at you from the second you wake up. Morning pages, and it's a small book, so writing 3 pages takes about 10 minutes. Doing that just sort of allows your brain to have a moment where you can then make choices. Because if we wake up and we're assaulted by our thoughts, then we get online and we're assaulted by literally everybody else in the world's thoughts, we're not going to be making our choices. We're just going to be reacting in patterns. And so 3 longhand stream of consciousness pages is how I start my day. And then, okay, I'm a little bit of a freak here. I have another journal, and this is a journal where the only thing that goes in here are cool things that happen. And it could be I got a book deal, but it could also be someone let me in on the freeway. It could be, like it was a beautiful sunset. It could be I set a boundary. But like I have found that by keeping a log of cool things, and there's neuroscience to back this up, it's sort of like confirmation bias, what you train your brain to expect. It's like kind of building your own algorithm. And so on the days where I feel like everything is shit, why bother going on, I literally have this log of cool things and cool people and awesome stuff that is in the world still, even now, and that kind of compels me to keep going.
Yeah.
And the thing is when you start paying attention to like cool stuff, more cool stuff happens. And that's not woo-woo. That's confirmation bias.
I on my in my journal, the one side is like the daily habit tracker for the month. So I have the habits that I want to try to implement or break. And then on the other side of the page is just the one line, and I just have one sentence to write the win of the day or something that was cool.
Yeah.
And that's been great because I did my end of year review for the first time at the end of 2025, trying to look back. And like one of the questions was like, what did you do wrong, or what would you have changed like for this year? And my pencil was on fire. I was writing everything down. No problems there. And then it was like, okay, what did you do well? And I had to sit there for like 30 minutes to try and figure out what went well this year, because that's just how I have trained my brain to think, and I need to get out of that way of thinking.
One win a day, what, like you can't help but be able to instantly access things that are, and things that are going well doesn't ignore the reality of pain and suffering and grief of like yours and your families and the world. It's being able to do both at the same time. Carl Jung, I don't know if he was the first one to talk about this, but he was the one I learned it from, where he talks about real wellness as being able to hold 2 completely opposite extremes without choosing either one. Like, and what I mean by that is like the world is on fire and there's a lot of really evil stuff. And today I went for a walk with my dog and I was so happy just to have an hour in the morning to do that. Like, because my mornings didn't used to look like this. They used to look like, coming down off of drugs and being very, very sick and unwell. So can you hold both truths without picking one?
You mentioned like the morning pages, like getting that out before you get assaulted by the world and social media and stuff like that. Another thing I started doing recently is I turn my phone physically off like an hour before hour before I go to bed, and then I'm not allowed to turn it on until 90 minutes after I've already been awake.
Love that.
Just so
that's
I'm not
discipline.
Yeah. Well, that's why I have to turn it off physically because I'll just be like, oh, let me just grab it really quick and check something. But if it's physically off, then it's like, okay, you actually have to be intentional about like turning it on and stuff like that. And that's been a big game changer for.
What do you do for your first 90 and what do you do for your last hour at night?
Yeah. First 90, I wake up and I read. So I have a Kindle that I wake up and I read, and then I have a sauna right behind me right here. So I get up, I turn that on, I drink like 20 ounces of water, and then I read till it's heated up. And then I get in that, I do my sauna, then I come out and I start making breakfast and do everything I can do. Just try to be slow and conscious with my morning, because I know once I get going, like I'll not run out of things that I could be doing. And then the last 60 minutes, I've always been like super sleep conscious. So like blue light blocking glasses, phones turned off, lights are turned down, magnesium, cool my room. And then it's just reading. My wife and I got rid of our TV, so we don't have any TV either. So we just sit down and she's in medical school, so she doesn't have time anyway. So, so we're like, okay, if we're have this limited time together, we go to bed early, we get up to early, you're at school, let's kind of get rid of the TV and try to be intentional with our time together. And it's been great.
I love that. That's amazing.
If you're one of those people that watches podcasts and doesn't just listen, you've probably noticed this sauna right behind me in each and every one of my episodes. That is my Heavenly Heat Eco Sauna, and it is seriously the best. It's not just there for decoration. I use it each and every day. Heavenly Heat makes some of the cleanest saunas on the market. They are ultra low EMF, no glues, no dyes, no plywood. It's all 100% hemlock, and they are extremely easy and high quality to assemble. And my favorite thing, they don't require any electrical or wiring. All you have to do is plug it into an outlet and it starts working immediately. Heavenly Heat is a sponsor of the show, and if you're interested in getting a high quality sauna, head to heavenlyheatsaunas.com/Merrill. That's heavenlyheatsaunas.com/MERRILL, and use the code Merrill at checkout to save some money. Thank you so much. So you started posting on social media, on Instagram. You had your storyboarding for your book. We have your why. Who was your book for? Like, who should be reading it and what can they expect to get out of it? Your first book.
So, like, I would love to be like, I write books to help other people. And it's like, yeah, I'm glad that's a thing and that makes me happy. But, like, I first wrote the book for me. I wrote the book that my younger self really needed, and it didn't exist. So the science of stuck, the way I wrote it was like, my brain was on fire, I did not need a deep dive. I was so overwhelmed. I wasn't going to read a stack of books on boundaries and relationship dynamics and family of origin and how to set boundaries and addiction and anxiety and depression and holy shit, no. And what I needed was one book by someone who knew some things, who curated all the good stuff. And kind of like here's my best of, here's the best of boundaries, here's what the best, it's not everything, it's just nuggets to get you started. And I wrote it to be incredibly easy to read. I write the way I speak. It's not like, let me put this in clinical academic terms. It's like, yeah, as a hot mess, here are a few things I did. Your situation will be different, but the basics are pretty much the same. Like, anxiety is not something that's bad, and it's not something that's out to kill you. Anxiety is your brain's dashboard telling you, problem, check engine. And so I think the person who's best, served by that book is someone who's like, can you just give me the bottom line? I wanted the deep dive because I'm obsessed with this work and I want to sit and noodle on all the things, but like not everybody does. So if you're like, I just want, what are like the most common family dynamics and patterns and what do I do about them? But like, I put cartoon illustrations in there and very simple. Here, try these 3 things, do this.
Mm.
And then I wrote a workbook to go with it. So I'm like, if you really don't want to read anything, it's kind of like on blogs when you're trying to find a recipe and there's like 9 pages.
Yes.
Like in early 1990, I discovered the churning butter. It's like, just tell me how much effing flour, protein powder, and eggs. I don't want to read the story. So my second book was let's just take out the story and just get right to here, if you got this, try this. And if you got this, try this. And then my third book was more of a deep dive into like the different parts of your brain, the inner critic and the saboteur and the imposter and the inner child. And then I'm doing a new book on shame right now called Shame Spiral, and that'll be out next fall.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
You mentioned like when your brain's on fire, you don't want to read, you just want kind of give me the information so I can start getting better. I don't want this to be like a dumb question, but when we're in the habit of our brain being on fire for so long, when do you know, like, how are you able to step back and be like, okay, my brain's no longer on fire? Because like if we're on that fight mode all the time, it's like, it's difficult to step back and be like, oh, I'm actually not in fight mode anymore. Like I can relax.
I feel like it's not a dumb question, by the way. I think it's the same question for people who are losing weight or building muscle. It's like it happens over time where you like all of a sudden something that was impossible isn't. Like I couldn't do a pull-up for freaking ever. I still can't do it from a dead hang, but I can do pull-ups and chin-ups starting with my feet on the floor. But there was a time where I didn't even get 2 inches of air. It was just like every day, scat pulls every day, hang off the damn bar. And then suddenly one day my chin was over the bar and I'm like, I just did a pull-up. Like what? So I don't know how to answer that question other than because my brain still catches on fire. I don't feel like I live in that fight flight mode, but like I'm not like above or beyond that. So I think it's like any health wellness habit. Suddenly something that seemed impossible is now just a normal part of your day.
Yeah.
And that's and then being mindful to look around and be like, wow, like this used to be a dream. Like waking up and not like, feeling like shit. That used to be like a pipe dream. And now it's something I take for granted because I don't really drink and I prioritize sleep and I never wake up hungover. So like, that's cool. And I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. So I don't need to roll over and smoke a cigarette to start my day anymore.
Yeah.
That's nice. So it's kind of like, well, it's just kind of a drag because there's not really big, exciting changes. It's more like keep doing it. And then the 12-step program has a saying, which I like. And it's, if you keep doing this, I'm paraphrasing, but like, if you keep doing this stuff, eventually you will know how to handle situations which used to totally, totally freeze you up. And that's true.
I was talking to a friend like 2 weeks ago about like getting in the gym and like starting to work out. And I talked to him. I was like, hey, for the first like 3 months, you're going to feel like nothing's changed. And then you're going to see a friend that you haven't seen for the past 3 months. And they're going to be like, whoa, you like way better. And that's going to be the click for you because you're going to think nothing's changed. Because I mean, that happened to me. I think about this sometimes. It's like my sophomore year or between my freshman year and my sophomore year, it was like over the summer of high school. I just started getting to the gym. I was like, hey, I spent that whole summer like working out and like eating food and taking my creatine, doing everything right. And I was like, okay, I don't look any different. And then I went to the school that first time and I saw like one of the upperclassmen. He's like, dude, you look way bigger. And I was like, oh, I still remember that to this day. It's like, I was like, that's kind of how I look at these things is like, I need to remind myself in the moment is like, I might not feel like I'm moving the needle, but I am. Like there will be a time when somebody comes and addresses it and brings it up. And like, that'll be kind of confirmation, not to say that that's needed, but like it's always good to
nice.
Yeah,
it is. And this whole like you never need external validation I think is crap. Like I think that can't be the primary driver, but like we all need external. Like if I'm working out every freaking day for 3 months, someone damn well better tell me, wow, you look good. Like I'm not evolved enough to not need it ever. So I think again it's like in little bits, I think the wellness world has sort of like overdone everything needs to be about internal validation. I'm like, yeah, and we're relational people.
Mm-hmm.
It's not reasonable to expect to never be told good job or cool or good for you or that's awesome or we need
100%.
that a little bit.
You mentioned you initially wrote your book for yourself. It's something that you needed to hear and get out. And this podcast is kind of that very thing. It's like, let me talk to all these cool people. They won't talk to me. Okay, I'll create a podcast. Now they'll talk to me because I can. And it's like thinly veiled as like, I'm trying to, like, yes, I want other people to get value too, but like, I'm not talking to people that I think, like, I'm talking to people that I want to talk to because I want to get stuff from it. And so it's like this selfish quest for improvement that I can say as a podcast.
Can we talk about the selfish thing? Because same thing with me. I'm like,
Yeah.
I didn't get into therapy or keynote speaking to help other people. I got into therapy and speaking and writing because I freaking love therapy, speaking, and writing. Like, I truly love doing it. The fact that it's helpful is a bonus, and that's great. Is that selfish? Maybe, but like, you're benefiting from it. My clients benefit from it. I'm not resentful because I don't feel obligated to do it. I'm not like doing it because I need to be like the most wonderful person who's just helping other people. Like,
Yeah.
and same thing with your podcast. Like, I'm having a great time talking to you. So like, it might be selfish, but this is mutually beneficial.
Yeah.
So I think the idea of, and I've worked as a social worker. I've worked in nonprofits, and I've seen a lot of people who think I have to want to help people all the time. They burn out and they get resentful, and they never let themselves have any expression that's theirs for no other reason other than because they feel like it. I think if and I don't think everyone needs to follow their passion. That's a terrible life advice. But like, if we do things that are important to us selfishly, likely someone else is probably going to benefit from it if we're doing it in integrity and alignment, and that's cool.
100%. I mean, you saying that makes me think like I'm a better husband and friend and stuff when I do the podcast because it fills me up. Like I'm creative. I'm more happy. Like I'm talking to people that I want to talk to. We've had this deep conversation for an hour to 2 hours, and like afterwards, I'm then more happy and I'm I'm just a better human. And so when I don't do the podcast, like if like last week I was like last week I was sick. I was sick for like a week, and like I didn't do anything. I'm so unproductive when I'm sick. Like my wife is a champ. She keeps going. Everything stops when I get sick, and I am like trying to get back into my flow and doing everything again. But A, it's hard to get back into it from taking that time off for me, and then B, while I was sick, I was also just like more crabby, not because I was sick, but just I was not doing anything. I was watching, Netflix on my iPad. I was eating those Oreos that we were talking about. And so when I can be productive, which isn't, it's funny that like having this conversation with you, like I'm saying all these things that I get from being productive, but you still have that part of you that's like, oh, you have to go do this, or like you have to get yourself to go. It's a interesting dichotomy, but also when I do it and knowing that I do it, I'm just such a better person after I've done something of value.
It's so true. And then the voices in your head tend to calm down a little. Like when I get sick, I get really panicked because if I'm sick, I can't work. And if I can't work, I can't make money. And therefore, I'm going to die and I'm going to lose everything. And, because like that's happened to me before. And so the more when I'm sick, I let myself not be productive, then the voice that says, you need to be, like she calms down. And then when I am productive, the imposter inner critic voices, they're just like, wow, like you're actually pretty happy doing work that tends to be helpful in the world and nothing terrible really at this moment. Who's to say what's going to happen tomorrow or next year? But like at this instance, my dog's on the couch. I'm talking to you. Like, okay, that's pretty awesome, actually.
Who is therapy for? Like, should everybody be in therapy? Is it like, there's, especially with males, I feel like in the fitness space, it's changing a bit. But there's like this stigma that like, okay, you should be able to just handle it yourself. Like just go to the gym. That's your therapy. Go do that versus
eat protein and you'll be fine.
Exactly. But could everybody benefit? Should everybody be finding it? What goes on and into that?
I mean, I feel bad. I feel like men have gotten a kind of a bum deal because they're told you should be fine. Just, go to the gym, work it out, suck it up, be a
Yeah.
man, whatever. And it's like my private practice is basically half and half men and women, and which I think is awesome. And that wasn't always the case. So does everyone need therapy? Like, no, everyone
Mhm.
needs a practice of like managing their thoughts. Everybody needs a practice of being aware of what's going on. Everyone needs a practice of choice, but like not everyone needs that's like saying everyone needs movement at the gym. Not everyone needs personal training.
Mm.
Everyone needs to like move to whatever degree they can. Not everybody needs to sign up for like a bodybuilding competition. So with therapy, my thing is like, you don't have to do it, but like if you have that as a choice, like why wouldn't you? Do I need a trainer to work out? I know how to work out. I know what to do at the gym. I don't need a trainer, but I really like having one because I'm going to work harder than I would ever work on by myself. It's a great source of accountability, and trainers generally know more things than I do. Like I may know how to do what I want to do, but I don't know what I don't know. And a trainer might say, oh, hey, if this is one of your goals, here's like an exercise that I would have never in a million years thought to do.
Yeah.
Like I didn't know I'll go back to pull-ups. I didn't know that scat pulls were like the thing you need to do before, I'd be trying to do
Mhm.
pull-ups with my arms and I'm not going anywhere and it's not working. I'm like, what the hell is the problem? I didn't know that pull-ups were more about your back than your arms.
Yep.
So like, a trainer had to tell me that. So with therapy, it's like, yeah, you can like raw dog life on your own, but like if there's a person that can help you make that life thing a little less overwhelming and confusing. And for men specifically, my pitch with therapy is this, assuming you have access to a good therapist, like who's not just going to tell you what to do and shame you.
Mm.
I am not like when I'm in therapy, I'm not your mother. I'm not your wife. I'm not your sister. I'm not your friend. It's like the only relationship available where you can be totally honest with no consequences. Like if one of my guys comes in and has been a total like knucklehead about whatever, I'm not going to get mad because that's not my role.
Yeah.
So I think the men I work with and the women find it so relieving to have this relationship. It's very strange one-way relationship where it's all about you. You never have to ask me how I am. You never have to pretend to care about what I'm thinking because this relationship is all about you. It's all for you. And I'm not going to judge you for whatever you're doing. Like, why the hell wouldn't you do that?
Mhm. I had one session with a therapist like 4 years ago, just one. 100% my fault because after we did it, I reflected. I was like, well, I just lied on every single thing. Like I was not honest at all. And then I was like, okay, I can't do this. Obviously this isn't going to be productive if I don't do it. It's before I went on this journey where I've been improving and being more honest. I definitely want to find and give it another shot because when I think back on that, I just laughed to myself. I was like, what was I doing? Like I was just lying the whole time.
So here's a hot take on that because I hate the way therapy is structured where someone you don't know is asking you to talk about things that they haven't earned the right to know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think for a lot of people, lying is a really good strategy at the beginning of therapy while you're trying to figure. I have clients who I've seen for literally years. Like, I have clients that like we are in this and we're not talking about the same stuff every week, but like we've been doing life together in the therapy room for years. And one of them said to me after like 6 years, oh, by the way, I've been totally lying to you about this thing. And I'm like, fantastic. Like that was something that you needed to keep because you didn't trust me to be honest with it. But like today you're being honest. Awesome. And so like, all right, next 6 years, we'll do other stuff
Yeah.
related to this. So I think that it's really on the therapist to create the safety that's needed before someone's willing to be honest. And then for people who are just like lying to lie, I'm like, this isn't court mandated and you're paying me cash and I'm expensive. So like, if you want to lie, okay. Like that's, but like, that
Yeah.
that's fine. Like we can work on other things. But I think that lying in therapy is not your fault. I think it's a strategy that probably made sense given how many not awesome. I mean, there's wonderful therapists and like anything, there's plenty of not wonderful therapists. So how are you supposed to be honest on an intake form without knowing that. So
Yeah.
that's not on you. Give it a go again.
It started, she's like, why are you here? I was like, I don't know. Like, you tell, nothing's like, I don't think I should be here or whatever. I was like, I'm great. I was like, and so that's kind of how it started. Cause I was like, I was expecting her like just to have a conversation and like, we would, build trust over time. Cause like that definitely, I'm that kind of person who's like, I don't know you. Like, who am I I'm not telling you anything.
That's right. They asked you, why are you here? Okay, so you might need to try a few before you find one that fits.
Well, that brings us to what are people looking for? Like, how should they evaluate finding a therapist and finding a good one?
Yeah, so that's like a whole nother hour we would need. But like it depends on what
Spark
you're
notes.
Some people don't want a conversation or a relationship. They just want strategy, skills, and information. And that's called psychoeducation. And I have people that are like, I don't care about building trust. I don't care about doing my feelings. I literally don't want to sit here and study for 10 years. You know stuff. I just want information and that's all I want. Great. That's not everybody, but that's some people. Some people want to do specific types of therapy that I'm trained in. They're like, I want to do somatic psychotherapy, or I want to do working with my inner critic or inner child therapy. Great, we could do that. Some people want to build a relationship before the shit hits the fan so that like once it does, they know who to call. And those people like will meet a few times just to get a rapport going. And then I don't see them again, sometimes for years, but they know we have now established contact. So trying to find a therapist when crisis hits is not awesome. Some people do that. Most people do a mix of like, we're going to sit and talk and, sometimes even joke around for a little bit, not for the whole hour, but like humor is useful. And we're going to do a mix of, I'm going to teach you stuff. I'm going to listen to you. We're going to work stuff out. We're going to process. It really just depends on what you want. I will say a big red flag is any therapist who is invested in you getting better, because a therapist who's invested in your outcome is going to, skew the therapy. Like it's important, I think, that you do you. My job is not to control whether or not you feel better. My job is to give you the best information, tools, resources, like mirroring that I have, and not be attached to the outcome, because then I have an agenda. And part of the magic of therapy is being with a human who doesn't have an agenda. And that's where really cool transformations happen. But that's just me. Like, and the every meta study of therapy shows the best predictor of a good outcome is, do you like the person sitting across the room for you? Like, if you don't like them, move on. And then after a while, if it's just like, this feels more like a paid friendship than I'm getting anywhere, then you move on.
Yeah.
But like, unless that's what you want. Some people actually want that. So it's more like, trust your instincts. If you don't like the person, that's a red flag. Move on.
I have a tradition on this podcast where I end with 2 questions. The first being, who do you think I should speak to next and why? And then the second is, what would be a book that you most recommend? For authors, I always say, give me your book and then give me a second book.
It didn't even occur to me to do my book. But since you've said it, yeah, my book, The Science of Stuck, is amazing. I'm very proud of that book. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. So that's a good one. And then let's see. A really good book on family dynamics is called The Origins of You by Vienna Farron.
Okay.
And she's a dear friend of mine, so disclaimer. But it's a really excellently done way to break down all that. Because I don't mess with family therapy. I don't do it. I don't practice it. She's a very good family dynamics psychotherapist. So she's awesome. So who to have on the podcast? Well, Vienna's awesome. So do you know who Brad Stulberg is?
I don't.
He does peak performance, and he wrote a book that just came out called The Way of Excellence.
Okay.
I follow it, like we follow each other online, but I don't know him personally. I just think his work is so, like, if we're talking peak performance without all the wellness nonsense, his work is so grounded and so beautifully written. Like, you can tell AI did not write his work.
Yeah.
And he really talks about peak performance, not just for really hard, high-achieving people, but peak performance for anybody who wants to live a life of excellence. So
yeah, I would love to talk to him. That sounds like something I'm definitely interested in. Well, thank you so much for your time. Where can people follow you? Where can they get more Britt Frank?
More stuff. You can follow
Yeah.
me on Instagram at Britt Frank. Britt has 2 T's. Or my website is brittfrank.com.